needs to be in English, right? So good evening, welcome to Ahimsa Yoga Studio. Yeah, we're gonna tonight talk a little bit about our studio and how do we work, so we can all like be clear about our policies and procedures, and that is this way there will be no doubts. And if you have any questions at the end as well, you can ask me. So after that, you're gonna be really ready to be our Ahimsa Yoga teacher. Alright?
Okay.
Sweet. So, the first thing that I want to talk to you, like, after welcoming you and congratulating you for like going through the selection process, it means a lot to us to have new teachers in the Ahimsa Yoga teacher studio, because this way shows that like our work is growing and we are like accomplishing our like goals and objectives. First thing that I want to talk about is the teacher-student relationship. As a teacher of AYS, is how we say Ahimsa Yoga student, this would be the short way of doing it. We must respect every student. Like this is like obviously, because we're gonna, especially here in Australia, we're gonna be dealing with different like students from different backgrounds, different cultures, gender, sexual, like opinion, like whatever. You know, so we have to respect them in every like particularity that they have. This is main thing, so as to us create a safe environment, and also that is how can I say that the learning process will happen in a better and healthy way. You know, because if the student doesn't feel comfortable, he won't come back to our class, he won't be focused learning, so we won't be able to teach as much as we want. Does that make sense? Yeah, so in all of these, we're always going to be relating with the Australian guidelines for yoga teachers, and one of the main things that it says is that respects and rights. We have also to respect their rights. And what are the rights of our students, right? So, the rights, the first one I want to talk about is confidentiality. Every information that you guys get in touch with, like that come across you, like in our ways, in our path as teachers, they're confidential. This is protected by law for every student, so we cannot share anything. We must be really honest towards them. We must encourage them during like all of their activities, never making them feel like denigrated in a way, you know? So basically, you probably already heard about this, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. This is what we like, it's a mantra that means may all beings be happy and free, and may all my words, actions and thoughts contribute in some way for the action and freedom of all beings. So that's our main like philosophy in our studio, which means that everything that we do, every time that we're going to communicate and connect with a student, we try to keep this in mind to know if we're like helping them to be happy and free and aware of everything that's happening in their lives. So yeah, this would be these two combinations very important for us. Communication with like efficiency, to listen to them, to understand the students' needs, whatever like they come to you to show, to understand as well, like if they have any kind of issues, any kind of particularities, to respect their limits and boundaries as well, like physical and mental, spiritual. In all of these, adapting to their own personality and peculiarities so they can grow in their own process in the best way possible. Following, we're gonna like, I would like to start before my boundaries, because it connects exactly to what we're saying, because we have to listen to them. But what about when a student comes to you after class and wants to talk to you for an hour? Or when he invites you to go to like a restaurant, could be he or she, and you feel there are intentions behind there that might be a little bit more than just professional exchange. You know, how do we deal with these situations? So it's very important for us to set professional boundaries if we desire to create a long and lasting relationship with our students. This way, is what we like to say, to be friendly, but not be friends. Because at the moment that you're friends, for you, this would be like there is like limits on you that like might not be understood by the other part of the relationship. And this can create like, oh, you open yourself to become friends with a student, and then this thing starts to grow in a way that it starts to be too much for your professional relationship. And then once you decided to cut off what's already going, that can impact in a negative way in the students and in your relationship, which in many cases can end up in like the student stop coming as much to the studio and having like, instead of helping him to balance and to grow in like his spirituality and his internal balance, like we would be doing the opposite. So this is our responsibility as teachers, because in a relationship between teachers and students, we occupy like a position of power. We, during a class, we can even tell them when to breathe and when not to breathe. They are totally open and they totally trust in everything that we say there. If you say like step back, they will step back. You say open your arms, they will open their arms. If you say breathe in, they will breathe in. So everything that you say and everything that you do, it's gonna be like very impacting in like their like perspective and of the things they think about themselves and the world as well. So, going on from boundaries, we're gonna go through safety procedures. Safety procedures, like as the name says already, is what we can do to establish like safety to our students. How can we make them like practice yoga in a safe way? You know, it is our duty of care, and also we have to comply with the WHS, that's Workplace Health and Safety requirements as yoga teachers. So every time before you start classes, I would ask you please to check the room, check if there is anything, any hazard that you can see, if there is like that can put the students in danger, or for example, to pay attention to the distance between the mats so they won't hit themselves and not like being, you know, like in a position that they can hurt themselves as well. So everything, lights, speakers, not just by the safety of the students but of yourself as well, if you have like everything that you need around you, and for the safety of the well-going of the class, I have to say. Because if you have a speaker that is on charge, that would be a little bit of a problem during a class, wouldn't it? You would be there like, oh, my music is over because I forgot to charge it last night. So, you know, like these little details that in the end of our profession makes the difference between a good and a bad professional. And since you guys are here, I'm 100% sure you're good professionals. So, yeah, we can go from there. And grievances. As I am a yoga student teacher, we shall always acknowledge the students' rights to make complaints and resolve any complaints or grievances according AYS policies and procedures. So yeah, they might not agree with everything that we say, and they might not agree with our behavior as well, even though we're doing our best and following every procedure. Everyone has different perspectives. You know, like sometimes a person might feel that the way you talk to them was not proper, or the way you touch them was not proper. Like this like part is really connected to boundaries, because we come in the parts of like adjusting. Adjustments is a very dedicated thing in yoga, because especially for male teachers, most of our like students are gonna be females. So like there are people that like you can touch, they are used to being like adjusted all their lives and do like yoga for many years. There are people, if you just go and touch them, they're doing yoga for just a little while, and they come from places that nobody touch each other. So that might make I feel like issues arise in the relationship as well. So before making any adjustments, before making any corrections, like physical, especially touching, I would ask you if you could please ask the students the permission and the consent. So even it could be at the beginning of the class, there are several ways of doing it. You can ask, for example, who would like to be adjusted? People like, because if you ask as well who wouldn't, that may make people feel a little bit, oh, I don't want to be the one that says I don't want it. You know what I mean? So try to make it a positive and encouraging way, then connected with the communication that we said about, so that they can learn and they can express their needs as well to you. Because if they say oh yeah, I want to be adjusted, you just go and you do it and perfect. If they don't, you can verbally give cues, or you can use a mirror technique when you do the pose right next to them and they can see you. There are a lot of other options that we can follow. So this is very, very, very important, guys, because in certain situations it can even lead to the need of having to need to contact with authorities and agencies and whatever, depending on how serious it could be. Yeah, right? Relationship with peers. Yeah, this is our main values. Honesty, compassion, courtesy, and respect shall always be present in our conduct. Which means that when we're dealing with other workmates, with other studios, with other professionals from the same area, we shouldn't always be honest, always be have courtesy towards them, compassion and respect. If we use anything of their work as well, if we make quotes or anything they produced, even music, so it is good that we let the students know and we make a reference to them. This is basic respect of copyrights and simple stuff. It creates a professional relationship with these other professionals as well. Is everything so far? Am I going too fast? No, it's alright? Okay, perfect, guys. Yeah, I'll try to make this not that long because just a little bit for us to understand. If you have any questions in the middle, you feel free to ask me as well. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Professional practice. This is going to be talking about yourselves and what you should do to keep yourselves updated as a yoga teacher, right? So, you want to say something?
Can I ask you something before you change the subject?
Yeah, 100%.
For example...
Where do you want to go?
No, that's okay. I can ask without. I have to be aware of the students' illness, but what I'm not really sure about, is because I have to, if they don't wanna me to correct them,
Yes.
what should I do? Because then I have to tell them to not do this, it's gonna...
Yeah, you're totally right. I understand where you're coming from.
How can I deal with that?
Yeah, because most people, they won't have problems with being corrected because in the end, they're students, right? So they get to learn. The problem is the touching. Because physical adjustments, it's not everybody's comfortable about it. So if the physical adjustments is not an option available for that student, you can just come to him and maybe work a little bit more thorough cues. For example, say a little bit more and come to, hey, you should bring your tailbone towards the ceiling, put your heels on the floor, spread the fingers. And if the cueing is being hard to be understood as well, you can demonstrate the pose inside. Yeah. We always prefer not to be doing the class, always demonstrating, because otherwise you can't really see what's happening in the class. You can really correct other people. But sometimes, like a quick demonstration, just for them to understand what is it to be done. Yeah, it's really really helpful. Yeah.
Okay. And another thing, for example, in the relationship between students and teachers,
Yes.
yoga is kind of you improve your self knowledge, and I'm pretty sure that the students are gonna rely on me to help them to deal with that. And once you do that, it's sometimes it's not something that you can control because it's more like they shouldn't see you, you know? And that they shouldn't see you as a friend and something like that. So
Yes, but I didn't understand exactly that you improve their knowledge.
yeah, because it's like you told something about the relationship between teachers and students, and about friendship to try to not get involved,
Yes,
or something like that.
It's because like usually we're gonna teach them inside the class, and the class always have times. When we finish our class, you can say maybe a couple minutes, 5 minutes more, but then our other class is time, so we gotta leave.
Yeah.
So putting boundaries usually in this kind of situation that I was trying to express is mainly out of the studio. You know, because one thing is like the sharing of information and knowledge and stimulating them to learn inside the class, inside the studio. You're gonna be there, like it's clear the relationship. When you step in the studio, you're either a teacher, you're a student, or you're a visitor. There's no much more than that. You know what I mean? So, but when you step out, you're all just people. So and it's not the student's responsibility to set these boundaries. So it is ours to maintain. So they can come to you and invite you out. Maybe there is a yoga like event that you would love to go, and they might invite you to go as well. It's all personal of reading the situation and understanding the students' motives and needs that will like guide you to set the specific boundaries for that relationship. You know, because if you just let things go naturally, you can you can create issues for you in the future. Okay. Yeah, even though like in many times, it's not that you can't be friends, you can be friends, but it's always something that you have to do with a lot of awareness to know exactly what you're getting into and not affecting your work, your practice, and all the students. Yeah. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Did I? Is it?
Yeah.
Sweet. Too easy. So coming back to our professional practice, so that is mainly they're like it's reaffirming a little bit everything that I just said. They're like we have to maintain like our skills. That is in the next one. But we have to keep practicing. Like we cannot just teach. We have to keep practicing. We are a symbol to our students. So like if you say something in the studio and out of the studio you leave in a way that's not in accordance to what you just said, that is not going to be a very like how can I say, like harmonious image that you're building up with your students, right? We have to comply with the student guidelines for yoga teacher and abide by all the relevant business and legislative requirements of like AYS. So this is basically when you guys start working here, like on the forms and contracts that are all like the norms of a company that I'll ask you to read thoroughly as well, so you can like understand everything and how it works, about your working hours and all of that, just business stuff. And one of our main pillars of our philosophy for Ahimsa Yoga Studio is to be environmental friendly and sustainable. This is nowadays sustainability is a big thing that makes a difference between the companies. It's a differential that we can offer. So we're trying to do everything recyclable, not using a lot of plastic and anything that we can do to be environmentally friendly, and also because this connects with the yoga philosophy as well, of like when the yoga philosophy says about non-violence, I understand as well non-violence like balances the world, and like a lot of our behaviors in the capitalism and like productivism nowadays, it is kind of violent to our environment. So we're just trying to have like a peaceful relationship with our environment as well. So yeah, this is just, once you guys are here, you just, yeah, I believe like probably maybe if you are vegetarians or vegans or whatever, this is the same way of ideas and conceptions. So basically, guys, this is our presentation about, yeah, how does it work our studio, and this is, yeah, yoga studio. And I believe that I pretty much said everything that is important for you guys to start teaching here. Did anything come to your mind about anything else that?
No. Maybe. How big is the class usually? How many students in each class usually?
Yeah, it depends because we have like a few styles of yoga in our studio. So our most popular classes, they are the hatha yoga. Usually now in winter we've been having like around 20 students, 25 each class kind of. But the yin yoga is usually a little bit less, way less. In the mornings it's just 5 or 10 maximum. And by the end of the day you can get to maximum 15, but that's not generally. So yeah, we have like, it is a big studio, so if your concern is also about like the space or using all that, this is like, it's going to be pretty safe, yeah, for all these students as well. And
should we keep always walking around the class too?
During the class,
this is according to your own like style of like teaching. If you wanna teach from your mat, you can do it. If you wanna walk around as well, like we don't have like guidelines for how you should do your work. It's just about like if we just like complying with those strict guidelines for yoga teacher and like abiding to our policies and procedures as well. You just can like I believe in you guys, in everything that you guys learned and the work that you've been doing so far. So yeah, I believe like you can do, you're free to teach your class the way that you feel more comfortable. And yeah, I'm pretty sure the students are gonna love it as well. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I'm excited to start.
Ready to start.
Yeah, I'm excited for you guys to start as well. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate it. You're welcome.
Caralho, doutor!